All right, guys, welcome to a special edition of the DL Download Show. We're going to record this. I'm Danny, by the way.
And I'm Lizette.
Yeah, Download with Danny and Lizette. DL, Danny,
Danny McDermott, Lizette Santiago.
Yeah, you got it.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, we're doing a special edition. When we meet filmmakers and stuff, what we like to do before we host an event with them is we like to do a podcast with them. So we get to know them a little better, and then we're really prepared for the actual event, which is coming up soon, right?
Yes, it's March 31st to be exact.
Yeah, so we're very excited about this. It's been a long day. Oh my God, it's been a crazy day. We ran to the Trader Joe's. We got all this stuff. As we're making the spaghetti, she opens the salt, and the whole thing, like, the top falls off and it all spills into the sauce.
Yeah. So it was only my fault that the pasta didn't come
out.
No,
it's not your fault. I didn't blame you.
Yeah. Well.
No, she thinks I blamed her. I didn't blame her. It was the salt fault. It was the salt's fault. It was Trader Joe's fault for having a loose top.
But Trader Joe's is good to shop at, right, everybody?
Hey, wait. We're not getting paid by them yet.
Well, we might. You never know. Yeah, it's just the top of the salt thing just, I guess, wasn't tight enough, or you know, sometimes you gotta make sure. And lately my hands have been a little weak, so it's not, I can't usually tighten things too well, so it's a little.
And I was doing something else at the time where we work together when we're cooking. I'll cut stuff up, or she'll cut stuff up, and one of us will be working on the stove, and one of us will be working.
One of us feeds the cats.
Yeah. That's true. That's true too. She fed the cats.
They won't leave us alone.
I just thank God we didn't have to do the litter box.
Yeah, and I did that already.
Yeah, that'd be hard to do. You got to wash your hands in between every time.
But mostly I do the cooking.
She does.
Yes, I do more of the cooking, but
I'm pretty good though.
You are good, but I'm really good at making vegan food. And there was a vegan feast, a fair the other day.
I know, and we missed it.
We missed it, but one of our friends went, and it's actually where I used to live. They close down the streets and they make everything vegan. They sell a lot of items that are vegan, cruelty free, and plant based, and outfits, jackets, bags that are all, So kudos to them for doing that.
She's
they do
vegan.
It twice a year.
She's vegan.
Yes,
I'm vegan by osmosis. I'm half vegan. I'd say 75% vegan.
Yeah, maybe sometimes 85%.
Sometimes.
Yeah, because you eat your meat, but you haven't been eating like meat that much lately.
No, I haven't. But I bought some at Trader Joe's. I'm so excited. All right. So speaking of hunters, was he a hunter too? Or I know he was a soldier.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring on our guest here. Go ahead. You want to announce him?
Yes, our guest is Ervin. Ervin, welcome to the show. I don't want to butcher your last name because we never talked about that. So can you please introduce yourself and pronounce your last name for us?
All right. What's going on, guys? It's Ervin Musabelliu. I know a lot of people get that wrong, so I don't blame you. You're not the first or probably last.
Well, now I know how to say it, so thank you.
You got a haircut since we saw you last.
Think so? I think I just showered, man.
Oh, okay. Well, it works for you.
That helps. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where are you from originally? Let's start there. And how did you get into becoming a filmmaker and an actor? You're an actor as well.
Yeah. It's, we'll do like a quick version of it, but I'm originally from Albania. I moved here back in 1998, and actually, as of today, marks 25 years in America, which is crazy. Yeah.
You have no accent.
You have no accent. How did you did you work on getting rid of it? Or?
No, I don't know. I think it's just, I came here when I was young, so it's it just being over here 25 years, you just kind of lose it, I guess. Yeah, so I came here, and we originally immigrated to Arizona. That's where I lived most of my life. And as of 5 years ago, I moved here to pursue filmmaking, acting. Well, acting on the forefront, and then everything else came from it. So.
Wow. So you've been in LA like a couple of years now, or
how? No, I've been here 5 years. 5 years in LA. And then
where were you before this?
In Arizona, Phoenix.
Arizona. Okay.
What part of Arizona? Because I've made some trips out there. What part of Arizona?
Like North Phoenix, Glendale area. Boring. Nothing really exciting. It's kind of like my second home, right? So.
So how old were you when you moved here?
I was 10 years old.
10 years old. Wow.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you speak more than one language, obviously, right? You speak.
Yeah.
What's yours?
We still speak fluent Albanian at home. So we always kept that. And then obviously, English, and I dabble a little bit in Spanish and other stuff.
Okay.
I'm from Albany, New York. Is that the same language?
There you go. Albany, Albania, same thing, man.
Right?
I speak Spanish. I would love to learn French, but because that's her descent too. But I speak Spanish, and I'm trying to teach him, but it's difficult.
Are you?
I'm trying little things. I don't want to teach you everything because then you're gonna know about what I'm talking about.
I don't think you've taught me one word yet. Oh no, you've taught me maybe 3 words.
So you started as an actor. When did you know that you wanted to act? How old were you when you caught the acting bug and said, I want to pursue this for the rest of my life? Or
yeah, so I always wanted to. I was always outgoing and extrovert. I think as most people want to become actors or dancers or singers or whatever. So I was always involved in extracurricular activities, I guess. And so I mean, it was since I was little, since I was back home, and I would watch movies with my grandpa. We'd watch like old westerns. I always loved storytelling. Like even as a kid, I wouldn't eat unless I was being told a story. So I think that really just captivated with me. Always had a big imagination, with things. So that kind of, and then when we moved here, it was kind of like in the closet, I guess, like just about this artistic drive that I had because,
aren't we all, right?
No, I'm not in the closet.
But sometimes you hide it. Sometimes you don't want to tell people what,
exactly.
that I want to be an actor because they'll judge you. Oh, well, I get that. So
and it's not like, it's hard for people to see that as a real thing, right? Especially as like I come from, just like old school type of way. Cause like I said, we immigrated here. So it was like, hey, you need to figure out how to survive. And then everything else comes second. So, the old school way, like go to school, get good grades, get a good job, earn a living, all that stuff. So I did that, I did that more so, for my parents and then myself too, kind of paying them back for everything that they gave us. And, it's
they write a bill, right? They make up a bill for us.
So the end, I went to school for it, but again, on the side, I was always like trying to dabble into acting. I'm in Arizona. It's so many things going on. It was just like this crazy dream. Nothing ever would come out of it. I try to do everything I could with what I had. Like, I went to we had shows in theater and I would be part of those and like whatever I could get my hands into. And it wasn't until later after when I was in college, and I was actually going for finance, that on the side, I was like trying to, short films, again, whatever I could do, just like little weird indie film projects, student projects, again, whatever I could get my hands on. So so I did that. I got a good job. I graduated. I went into finance. I had a really good career for a while. Then 5 years kind of go by and I'm like, holy crap, like what happened to this dream that I had? Like it's getting further and further and further away. So then I decided.
So you got a job in finance?
Yeah.
I was a job.
Yeah. So I was working a couple of years at Vanguard. Vanguard. They're just called Vanguard, I believe. It's one of it's like Fidelity, So I was doing 2 years, just like investments and stuff like that, like handling people's like retirement accounts. And from that point, I got a gig working for Chrysler as like a Ram area manager, like the Ram brand, like the trucks. And that was kind of like consulting, advertising, marketing. I was traveling all over. I lived in Vegas, Utah, like I was all over the place. And so that's what I was doing for like. What'd you do?
Yeah, I used to do car show modeling.
She was a car show model.
For Toyota. So
yeah, exactly. You guys were called product specialists, I believe. Yeah, we would
Product
hire.
specialists, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
we, we would hire like third parties to
You would hire a
basically.
product specialist for your brand.
Exactly. So yeah, so I did that for all these years.
Those are part of my agents.
Right.
Yep. So yeah, so I was just doing that, and I was
It does pay good money.
oh yeah, I was doing really well, really well. I also got into real estate and all sorts of stuff. So I was doing really well, and I was like 23 years old. So I was years a kid with nothing, immigrating to America. Now I have everything more than I could ever need and want, because I'm not like high maintenance. I don't really need a lot of stuff, and I had everything, like a company truck, this, that. So again, it was like I was happy, I was content, but it wasn't my dream, right? So I'm like, I'm good, but I want to be great, and that's the whole where the model
wasn't satisfied.
Yeah. So so then I decided, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do it.
So go ahead.
So that's when I decided that I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna really go for it. And I decided to like make a plan, and I made this 3-year plan of work, save, quit everything, move to LA.
Did you move here to LA by yourself? Because you mentioned we before, and did any of your family come with you?
No, just by myself.
That's awesome.
And then so you probably went to auditions and all that kind of stuff at first, and then, but what made you decide to start this project?
Well, I know too, before we move that, I think you said something about you were trying to do it as an acting reel. Is that what the initial, like, what started?
That's what,
to do your reel.
I mean, this entire craziness started from acting. Like, I'm an actor first. Everything comes second. I do acting obviously for the love of it, and I do everything else out of the necessity. But then, you experience and you dabble in different fields, like everywhere from casting to director to producer to sound to like everything. I'm involved in every little piece of detail you can possibly imagine, to writing up the contracts and like just everything, right? But when I first came out here, so my plan when I came out here, right, when I made my like whole plan to move to LA and pursue acting, I had a 2-year plan. That's it. Because I'm just like, okay, I budget out how much do I need for a year if I don't work at all, because I'm going to go all in on this, right? Okay, so I do those calculations, and for 2 years I was good. And then, you get into the 3rd year, 4th year, now 5th year. So it's like, you get in here and it just sucks you deeper and deeper. And I just feel like I'm just getting started, because there's so much to learn. I mean, the first 2 years was just head on, like, or the first year, I should say, like reading plays, books, acting classes, workshops, you name it. I was all in,
Good for you. Yep.
And then from there on,
no, people don't understand. They see, a lot of people see the glamour of acting, like the after results, the end results, but they don't see all the work that actors put into it. Not only having a day job, like you were saying, trying to make money, but you got to go to auditions, you got to get the right outfits, you got to get headshots, you got to get classes,
and you get drawn into all kinds of stuff. Like, I was just acting in theater when I went to New York. Then I started doing sketch comedy and stand-up comedy and producing comedy, and it's easy to get sidetracked.
Well, the thing that the people don't understand is you're not an actor, you're a business. And that's the hard part with artists. That's what artists have such a tough time, and all the actors and everybody, you get all these people with dreams, and then you're coming over here in LA where people don't understand that this is a casino. You're in Vegas. You're just playing with your dreams, and you keep sliding in a slot machine and playing and playing and playing and playing until, like,
you hit it. And then if you hit it, it's a small jackpot sometimes, right?
Right.
Well, and that's the thing you're talking about, because the good thing you do, like what we do, is you learn to produce, you learn to write, you learn to do all the things that most actors don't want to do. I always tell a young actor when they come into LA or New York, I say, learn to write, learn to produce, learn to do everything you can. Otherwise, you may as well go buy scratch-off cards.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Better
Amen.
chance of winning the lottery.
Well,
So,
the thing is, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
no,
but
no, no.
you know, this entire it's very complicated because it's not like,
Mhm.
and listen, I've done all sorts of stuff like from physical journey to other jobs, other industries. Like I've experienced so many other things, from being across the table to doing big time business deals, to sales, to marketing, to advertising, to everything, to physical journey, getting in combat shape, like all this stuff. But this is the most complex, and
Mhm.
I don't want to say difficult because everything is difficult in their own way, but this is like a dragon with 50,000 heads, because it's so subjective. There's no like, hey, if you work really hard and if you know this, you're gonna like, this is what's gonna happen. This is
Yeah.
the only place like that. The arts
Mhm.
field, art,
Yep.
music, dancing, singing, acting, right? Where if like
Mhm.
anything else, like if I want to be a lawyer, yeah, you've got your path. I want to be a doctor, you've got a path. You want to become a Navy SEAL, you've got a path. But this world is
Mhm.
so subjective, and work
Very
and
subjective.
effort does not
Mhm.
equal all the time to results. So that's what makes this very difficult.
And nobody makes it
Absolutely.
the same way.
Nope.
It's no, there is no map to success in this field.
Yeah. There was a story of a Susan Sarandon. She, really was an actor, but she wanted to do it, always wanted to do it. So she went for, I guess, an audition or something. She got, her big break, but she took no acting classes when she first auditioned, no acting classes. And she made a huge career for herself. And then there's actors who go to Yale, Juilliard, and are still struggling to get that one commercial, one big
Yep.
job, so there is no one path to doing it. Just because you graduate from NYU Tisch or Yale or Juilliard and got your theater degree doesn't mean you'll make it. It's just, it looks good, it helps you, but it's not a guarantee, like you said, with being a lawyer or being a doctor
Yeah.
and all that.
Right.
So it makes
It's
sense.
more straightforward, but this, you got to figure it out yourself. There's nobody can teach you how to make it.
No.
You're literally hiking in uncharted territory, and you're
Yep.
trying to figure out, the best way, and your way is going to be your way. That's what's so difficult, is that everybody goes through their own journey, and you've got to
Yep.
deal with inner world stuff, exterior world stuff, pressure, society, this, that, like so much shit is thrown at you, and you just have to kind of like juggle it all and make the best of it. And it's just kind of like, well, good luck.
And you have to have a thick start, but you have to have a thick skin too, because there's so much rejection, or people, like, if you have a project, you write it and then you get, this sucks or whatever, or you're too short, you're too thin, you're too skinny, you're too ugly. There's so many things that you
that's
can do.
why, and that's why I just, I decided to write my own movies and start working on my own stuff, much like you're doing.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
this started as an acting reel idea, right?
Yeah. So when I started, so the whole thing, right? Like, again, because I'm business oriented, because I went to school. I mean, that's what I've been doing for the last 10 plus years, right? Like I dealt with all sorts of fields when it comes to business. This is the same thing. It's just art, but it's the same thing. It's business leads this thing, from packaging something to advertising, marketing, this, that, yada, yada, yada. It's the same thing. At the end of the day, you got to sell yourself. You got to sell your project. You got to sell your vision, and you got to sell your art, right? So
Sell
when I
yourself.
came here,
Sell your
Sell
soul.
your soul.
No.
Pretty much.
part of the package.
Guys, we don't endorse selling your soul, just so you know.
Yeah, no.
So
Um,
the thing is, when I first came here, besides like because the first thing that I did was, learn like a sponge, learn everything about acting, right?
Smart.
And really put in hard work as far as that goes, And then when I got in a comfortable position and I did my first project, it was like a 2-minute project, like this fitness video thing. And then from there, I did the scene in class that I really liked. And then I produced that with a fellow actor. It's like a 7-minute thing. And then I did this full-on short film, but it's got a premise, and it's like this thing, it's film that I did called The Dark Web. And that did really well with like awards. We won over like 12 or 13 awards or something. And it did really good in circuits, and got some, conversations there as far as like talks about like potentially turning to a feature. et cetera, et cetera. But the next thing after the dark web, like my short film, which I did 3 years ago, my associate producer and I were like, hey, we should do something like gladiator based, because I wanted to do something gladiator based. Long story short, I on a drive to Phoenix, I listened to this audiobook called Virtues of War with Stephen Pressfield.
I heard that. Yes, I want to order that book.
What's it called again?
It's The Virtues of War.
Okay.
Yes. Like,
and
wow.
I listened to that audiobook and I just fall in love with just like the story and how it's told, and the beauty of, like, you know, just like war and art and comradeship, and, you know, this heroic way of how Alexander led his life, essentially. So, and I didn't know anything about Alexander, so I'm like, holy crap, hold on, because there might be something here. So I deep dive further and further and further, and you know, this little reel turns to like, hey, we should do something maybe story based, you know, then maybe this. So I deep dive with him, and I just lead this thing, and the more I learn, the deeper I get into it, and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and then essentially this becomes my thing. And the dude's like, hey man, and he's a good friend of mine too, he's in Sweden, he's like, hey, you're leading this thing. At this point, it's like, this is your baby, man, go for it. So that's when I'm just like, just ran with it and developed it and developed it and developed it, and you know, the rest is history. And you know,
you didn't write it yourself, right? You co-wrote it with somebody, or someone else wrote it and you helped them out?
No, the proof of concept is all me. Wrote it, produced it, directed, everything. But the series that is in place, it's like I wrote that too. Well, the thing is with writers, let me backtrack, because this is a mammoth of a project, because it's not just about like me telling a story. It's me having to have a really good in-depth understanding of history and then telling the story, because I don't want to do anything that's like, wait a minute, that's not accurate, or that's off, or you know what I mean? I'm very like careful about that, because first of all, it represents, like, you know, my country in essence, and where I'm from, and my ancestry and heritage, because Alexander was from that region.
Oh no.
You know, and we go way back, right? So, you know, I owe it to history itself that I need to portray these people as accurately and truthfully as I can. Then comes everything else, which based on everything I learned. So the first year was just taking all the knowledge in, which was crazy. So that's why I got like a historian involved. And, you know, besides me becoming a historian myself, basically, you can't see it back there, but that's like a map that I drew of like old, right over here. You got like old school Macedonia over here. Anyways, when I first started, yeah, I have stuff all over my walls, which you guys can't see, but, you know, just deep diving into the whole complexity of this enigmatic character, you know, and yeah, I mean, it's just very in depth and very complex. Awesome.
And you went through physical transformation.
Yeah.
You worked with a trainer for over a year, right?
Yeah. So I went through a series of phases, which I call them. Phase one is, because to get ready for Alexander, it's not just a mental thing, it's a physical and mental thing, and they crisscross, right? Just like, you know, when you're studying Chekhov versus Stanislavski, it's a combination of your physical, you know, affects your inner world, and inner world affects your physical world. So they have to go hand in hand. So if I'm trying to, portray this enigmatic character, the first thing that I need to do is understand this person, right? Like as much as I can. And how can I understand this warrior, this general, this leader, this fighter, you know, without going through the physical experience and world that he experienced? So my first phase was just getting my body back into like, you know, a solid physical state, you know. Then second phase was, you know, building strength. I wanted to get really strong, and not just like be buff and big, but I wanted to gain strength, like actually feel strong. So I went through that. The third phase was building the stature, which is kind of like would be a representative of what those guys had to go through, you know, the combat. So, you know, developing certain regions like your shoulders, your traps, just your overall core, right?
Yeah, to look like
And
a warrior, like a
yes,
champion, like
yes.
right?
Not only
Yeah,
look though,
feel it,
it's more
Feel it.
so
feel it.
be it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And then I started. Then I started training, and then I started like spear and sword training. And I'd go every day, and I would just develop techniques and spears and throws, and all these. Then I would get. Then I got a shield, and then after I did that, then I went horseback training because Alexander was known for his cavalry skills. He led the best regime of that time, basically, before he became king. So, anyways, so then I also began this like 1 year horse training journey as well.
That's amazing.
And then from there, with a sword in hand, spear in hand, bareback, all the elements
Bareback.
we did back then.
Gosh.
Bareback, that's got to be the toughest riding to do. You hold them by the hair, and you try to guide them by pulling their hair, right? Is that how you do it?
I was gonna say,
no. I mean, you got reins. You got reins.
Oh, you do have reins.
Okay.
Yeah. Bareback is just basically no saddle on the horse.
Right. Okay. But what about so what? Now I took equestrian in college. I did some jumping, but I did English style. What did you do? English or Western, or was it a?
I mean, I did both. My trainer had us do everything, but it was Western. So basically, like during that training over there, it wasn't just horse training. It was like situational. I mean, we're running horses with spears in hands. We're going against each other. We're doing like crazy stuff. It's not just, you're learning how to ride and it's like, yeah, you show up for your scene. It's like, we're living it. I was living it for sure. Like one day I stayed there for a week. I camped out in the trailer and wake up in the morning, do all like the duties of, like, because I also wanted to be part of that world as much as I can, right? Because horses and men, and during that time, it was their weapons and their horses. They were more valuable than men back then. So I had to develop that relationship and get a glimpse of that world of what is that like. And horses have personalities, so you really get that world, and it just takes you places.
People don't realize how horses, it was funny because a lot of people, they ride a horse, they don't think of them like a dog or a cat that has a personality. They think of them as transportation when they first, you know what I mean? They don't really understand that the horse has feelings and emotions and love and all that kind of stuff. And the bond between a man and his horse is a very powerful thing.
Yeah. It's, I mean, again, I'm going into a world where it's so complex and dense, and there's so many moving pieces. And, you're talking about 330 BC. So it's not like, hey, train a month and no. And that's not how I do things. Like as an actor, I don't, and everybody has their techniques. But my thing is like, I'm full on. I want to live it. I want to experience it. If I don't feel it, if I don't earn it, I won't do it. Yeah. So that's why it was so important to me to go through all these phases before even though it might be a 10-second scene. I want, like, when you see Alexander right on screen, and when you see her on horseback, I have to earn that. I can't just be that just because I'm writing it and direct. No, I have to earn that. I have to earn my stripes. That's the only way I will do it, or else I won't cast myself. I'm big into projects about being authentic and being honest and playing everything as truthfully as you can, and having integrity, as opposed to like just, hey, I wrote it, so I'm going to be the star of the show. And it's like, no. This, you gotta go through hell to come out of this and earn it.
Yeah.
And that's so great for your audience members, the people who are going to watch the film and the series eventually. It's because you're not lying to them. You're being your authentic self. You put the work into this and they'll see it. I mean, we know when an actor has really worked on their role or hasn't. You can tell. I mean, you studied, you went to a lot of acting schools. Is there, a specific technique, or you just did it all?
My thing is Stanislavski, because that's I feel like all sources lead to Stanislavski, and now, of course, everybody's got their own methods that they develop from there. But I think, like, what that man says, I mean, it's just so profound. And even to this day, everything works. But
Yeah.
you know, and the more you do, the first, like, you go through your phases of like trying this and that, and the more you do it, the more you deep dive, you create your own methods, you know. So I've took a lot of workshops and looked at all techniques and this and that, but honestly, the best thing for me is I don't act like I know it sounds maybe cliche or stupid or whatever, but I'm like, I'm it. Like
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
like I
You
am.
become
You
It's
are
not
the character.
well, it's not even as simple as like I am the character by any means, though I believe I'm delusional and being like, oh, I'm Alexander. It's like, no, 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 no.
Mm.
I am in those circumstances as me, but playing
Absolutely.
Right.
them as if I were under the circumstances that that man was.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's what so that's why
Yeah.
it's so important for me to overcome these things, because when I shot, I was Alexander in the essence. Like, I was directing, I was like, I had 80 people, this, that thing not getting done. So I had to like overcome that and ride through that and deal with all sorts of crap and keep my calm and push forward when all things were like falling down and like chaotic. So,
The
you
lights,
know,
right? The weather, all that can get in the way.
so it's just like that to me is like that's why I respect people like Daniel Day-Lewis or people
Yes.
who go and experience those things. Like, if you're gonna play a boxer, you better go fucking box, or else
Yes.
Yep.
you know, you can be pretty and look cute and do all that. Like, and I think like most acting nowadays is it's about pictures and Instagram and followers and all this shit. And I think like
Yeah.
we've lost the true essence of art, which is to
Yes.
understand, which is the
100%.
most in-depth thing you
Yeah.
can do, you know?
We were talking about, and I love what you said, that like you bring yourself to the table, to the life. It's like you merge both lives together, not just the role you're taking on, but also you as that person with their thinking. That's is one thing I told him about. The one thing I love about acting, and I'm sure you probably feel this too, Ervin, was the psychological part where the way you think has to be almost like their thinking combined.
You have to forget
know?
about your life and be in this life that you're in the moment, and deal with the things as you would if you were really dealing with that stuff. And if you that's why, you know, when people try to become other people, I think a lot of actors make that mistake. They don't. Your essence has to be at the core. You have to. Yeah, you're becoming the character, but you're making those choices based on the background you've been given, and but it's got to be, you got to feel like you're making these choices in the moment.
Yeah.
And your passion for the story of Alexander the Great was something that attracted you to wanting to play this, right? To do this part, to take on this, or what was that light bulb that set it off for you, that I want to make this project and I want to make it a series?
I don't know. I
You don't
really
know.
don't know. I don't want to give some bullshit answer about this or that, or this was the moment. Honestly, like, and you can say, I don't know if, you know, you believe in destiny or this or that, but it's just, I became fucking lost in this whole thing.
You became obsessed with it.
I became obsessed and lost, and I don't even know, like, it's crazy because it's like, through the journey of Alexander, it's like I went and uncovered new layers about myself through all these obstacles. And not only that, but deep diving into ancient history, I'm learning about my people. Like, I'm learning about my language, and I'm learning about all these things that I had no idea about. I'm like, holy shit. So I feel so connected to this person because he walked where I was born. I mean, it's the same region, it's the same geographical region, and we spoke similar languages and customs and cultures. So I'm like, holy shit. And not to mention, when my historian first saw me, he's like, dude, you have the same stature and physical looks as Alexander, or the best that we know of him. So if you look at a picture of the mosaic, he was also like shorter guy for that time. You know, he had like a slightly like a bigger nose, big eyes, like, and just like he had this thing about him. And I don't know if like this is like my thing that I'm meant to do, I'm supposed to do. I don't know if maybe now, because I've been in it, like this is something that my mind's telling me. Like, I have no idea. But through the story, I found myself in him. And again, it sounds very cliche and stupid, but trust me, like there's
Not at all.
Like when I'm reading about his story and learning shit, I'm like, oh my God, like his alter ego and the battles. I'm like, that's me. Like, it's crazy. Like, so I'm sorry. Don't mean to cut you off, but
you've involved yourself in his life so much that you relate to him a lot. You guys have a lot in common, right? Like, would you say that's?
Yeah, it seems like you've been just drawn into it. Just it was just like you're pulled into it. You were it just became something that was pulling you forward, pulling you in, drawing you in more and more. And now you've created this amazing piece of work that you're about to show people. So we're very excited about that.
Yeah. And I want, of course, a question for you. You talked about, it reminds you of where you grew up, your hometown and stuff originally. Where would you want to shoot this ideally? Where would ideally you want to
feature? Albania, Macedonia, Greece. I want to go to where he rode. I want to be there. I already have a plan. I went location scouting 2 years ago during COVID. I mean, I went through. You'll see. I can send you pictures and all that stuff. But yeah, we went location scouting with the guy that was originally my associate producer that was going to partner up with me. We met up and we rode and we drove and we experienced and we went to Philip's castle in Macedonia, which was Alexander's father, and the castle he built.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just like, and going to these islands, which are like 4,000 years old, it's insane. And the language written over there and carved in stone. And I mean, and I talked to producers and stuff out here like, oh, we can just put a whole green screen over here. And I'm like, nah, dude, that's not the way I will do it. And that's not the way what this project will do it. And again, to me, this ain't about money. Trust me, guys. And that's what people don't understand. I can go make money anywhere else. I don't have to do this shit. I can go to business. I can get a job tomorrow.
You had a good job
and make the money. I'm not here for that. So I'm not here to. You can't put a little carrot in front of me and I'm like, ooh, yeah. No, this is not a sellout thing. This is about telling the story as truthfully and as honestly as I can. And whoever can see that, jump on the bandwagon. If you can't, peace. I'm riding. I'm going forward no matter what, because like I can't. This is a vision that I can't. Even if I try to stop it, I can't at this point. It's just like there's so much depth. There's so much details. The story needs to be told, and it's not just about Alexander. It's about the time period and everything that the involvement and the use of wine and all these things, which are crazy. But there's a lot.
So tell us about the event, when and where, and what's involved. What's going to happen? How's this going to go?
Well, so everybody knows. It's this Friday, March 31st, which is also my birthday.
Yay! Happy early birthday.
Thank you. So I just want to do this big premiere event and thank all my cast and crew. That's first and foremost what my priority is all the people that are involved, all the people that helped me make this project. This is my way of thanking every single one of them to say, hey, my job is to deliver something of quality, and I hope that will be the case. But yeah, we've got a red carpet. We'll be taking pictures. We'll be thoroughly enjoying ourselves and living in the moment and taking a little pat on the back after 3 years worth of excruciating hard work, and it's at Harmony Gold Preview House. 7:30 p.m. is when the event starts.
And how can people find tickets or
www.alexandertheuntoldstory.com, and they can go and RSVP on there and see all the info, a little bit about the project, some BTS stuff, and they can also RSVP if they'd like. But it's Monday, so I mean 2 to 3 days before we close it up, because we're probably going to need a final count by, I'd say, the Wednesday night or so.
Awesome. And Danny and I will be there too.
Yes, we will be hosting.
Yes.
During the
Q&A.
Yep. And we're excited for you, man.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. I had a quick question for you too before. You had John Maxwell, right? Was he your historian? How did you connect with him? Yeah, how did that come about? Because that's an interesting story too.
It's So I was reading. So when I'm researching, right, and I have all these books from Ervin and all these ancient historians, and I got these landmark books which are like this fucking thick, right? And I'm going through all this stuff and documentaries, and I'm just consuming everything that I can about life of Alexander, and that's a whole problematic thing on its own because ancient history and sources and lack thereof, et cetera, et cetera. But one book that I read that was very interesting, or that I looked online, it's an Alexander. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. The Enemy Within.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, The Enemy Within.
Oh yes,
that sounds just like my premise. So I read, I'm like, oh shit. So I looked at the author. I'm like, very interesting twist. Kind of similar to the theory I was creating. So I reach out to him like, hey, John, blah, blah, blah. This is who I am. This is what I've been doing. And by that time I was like 2 years in, and he loved it. He wrote back right away. And he's the guy that's like, hey, it's crazy. The first thing when I saw you, you resembled him, and here's a guy that he's been giving class on Alexander for the last 30 years or so. And he's just he unfortunately is no longer with us because he passed away. But great guy, scholar of a man, and just a stand-up gentleman who was just very, very well knowledge about Alexander. And he was a great asset just to bounce back, and somebody I could just kind of be like, hey, what do you think about this? And he'd give me the historic version, and then he'd be like, well, this is historically what we know of. But here's gray areas. I'm like, great. I don't want to keep researching all these little details that he just had at fingertips, So that's how
I'm a big believer in I'm a big believer in signs and stuff. And the fact that you met him, that you got in contact, that just feeds into your project and how successful it's gonna be. I feel for you, because that doesn't happen on purpose.
It doesn't.
It's there's a reason behind all that, for sure. And you've definitely put a lot of effort into this. And I'm so excited for you on Friday. I can't wait for everybody to know about this. One more question though, I had to ask you this too. You could have made this into, you did a proof of concept. You can make it a feature. Why a series? Why did you want to do a series of Alexander, the story?
Sure, that's a great question. Because no film, no matter the budget, will ever do this justice. If it's going to be told, and to be told right, you can give me $1 trillion. I'd say no, because I couldn't tell the story, right? Money's great. Like, you can have the Oliver Stone version, which, nothing against Oliver Stone. I think he's great. No, seriously. I mean, but he had like firepower. I mean, all these A-listers and this and that, and the story kind of flopped because you can't tell the Alexander story in an hour and a half, 2-hour format. You just cannot. You cannot understand him. So that's why my series, my first season, is a whole season before he was king, just to get an idea of like, let's hold on, because there's more to it. You know what I mean? It's not just like, let's show this great heroic chip. Nah, that's like surfacey stuff. I want to know.
Yeah, you don't go to the climax. You don't just go to the climax of his life.
Yeah.
You want the real everything about him.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. So guys,
sorry, just one last thing, but it's not also not his side either. Like, before Alexander, it was Philip, it was father. And you can't understand Alexander if you don't understand Philip, nor Olympias, nor all these other players, nor the Persians at the time, nor the Athenians and Thebans and all these things going on, to get a really good understanding of what was happening and why. So that's why I think it's imperative to do a series and not a film.
It's funny too. A lot of people know about this, the story about Alexander the Great, but we don't know the in-depth that you're going to do with this project. So this is really this is going to be a learning thing for everybody.
It's exciting.
It's exciting. So I'm happy for you. I'm getting chills.
I know. And we're ready to audition.
Yeah. We're actors first too. No, but it's so great to have connected with you so much. You're so inspiring. And for any actors who are listening, take notes, because that is what true acting is about. Really living what you're doing, not just the surface stuff. You got to go deeper than all that.
And you got to create your own work. You can't just go out and audition.
Absolutely.
You got to create.
So we look forward to Friday.
I look forward to you guys hosting. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Where can
Great
people
energy
find you?
too.
On Instagram too. I know you're
Just Musabelliu Ervin. I know it's kind of a long one, or you can go Good to Great Productions to kind of just follow the page and look at like BTS stuff and basically info about the project and whatnot. But yeah, just my first and last name. Pretty easy if you can get through my last name.
Perfect.
And one more last thing. I know John said, and you do, Alexander, you look like him, but you also look a little like Patrick Dempsey. Has anyone ever told you that too?
Really?
Mr. McDreamy from Grey's Anatomy.
Oh my God. I don't think that's true. I don't know about the dreamy.
Babe, are you hitting on our guest?
I'm not. I'm complimenting him.
We're gonna have a talk after.
Oh boy, I'm in trouble.
She's already fishing in for the actress stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Right?
I can't do that. I'd be like, hey, handsome. It's not gonna work.
But you never know.
Oh, that's true. You never know. I mean, back then they were anyway. I'm not gonna get into that.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
No, we're still PG-13, sort of. No, I'm kidding.
No, we're not. Anyway,
No, we're not.
dude, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah.
Hang around after for a few minutes. We're just gonna close out the show, and we're gonna talk about when we're gonna release this because we want to do it before the premiere. So
yes,
perfect.
All right. So thank you so much for being on here. We'll see you in a second.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you,
All right.
guys.
Hold on 1 minute. Guys, thank you guys so much for checking out the show today. I'm sorry we had the beep going on here at the end, but you know, that's when you don't have an advanced studio and all that kind of stuff helping you out. You got to do what we do.
We'll have that soon. We're just,
come and check this out on Friday. We're going to have all the information in the description. And guys, we love you. Tell your friends about the DL Download Show. And the website is the dlshow.live. So hopefully we will see you this Friday at this event. We're very excited about it. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you. And we'll have information on our Instagram DL show too about everything happening on Friday too for Ervin's event.
Yes, we will have everything there for you. Guys, we love you. Stay in touch and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.